Well, here we are with day 9, I think. I'm not sure. I took the scheduled day 7 off due to the searing heat that happened on that day. So day 8 became day 7, etc., etc. So basically, this is day 9, technically. So I haven't made a video since day 6, I think. So I've done quite a few things since last time. I'm pretty sure I didn't have the engine in yet. So, yes, I did manage to drop it in. Went quite well, I think. There it is. Gearbox is also back in. I swapped the exhaust manifolds because I couldn't get the pollution plug out of the side of the old one, and I figured, well, might as well put an exhaust manifold in there that's got some studs in it, in the bottom of it, like I said, instead of having to stuff around swapping them over. So, yes, I know I could take that pipe out, but it's even more fiddly trying to get it out from that side because it's right under the carburetor, and it's as difficult because they really are just rusted and seized. I've whacked it with a hammer, like I've whacked a spanner on the end of it with a hammer, done all kinds of stuff to it, thrown heaps of WD-40 at it, and it just hasn't budged. So I think, well, sometimes you just got to do what you can with what you have. So anyway, I still have to put the rest of the exhaust on though, and I'll be doing that before I test fire it, so that it's not, I don't kill myself from carbon monoxide poisoning. But that exhaust is sitting around there, just waiting for me to find the nuts actually for those studs. They should be floating around somewhere. I've got to look for those. Then I'll put the exhaust on because I won't have to worry about taking it off again when I take out the diffs. So to get the engine running, I think all I have to do is, because I've hooked up fuel, I've hooked up the coil, and I've hopefully got it wired up correctly. I'll use my TD as a reference to the wiring, but it should be nearly correct. I've got all the fuel lines hooked up, return, inlet, and this is a 3-way valve, which is a breather system for both the sump and the fuel tank, and it goes to the air filter. Now, there's a big problem with these 3-way valves sometimes. If you don't hook them up correctly, the excess fuel, which some people say only gas comes out of the fuel tank to this breather setup, but actually fluid does go through. And if you hook it up incorrectly, like I did with my TD when I first got it running, you'll actually put a whole heap of petrol in your sump, which can thin out the oil and screw up your bearings. So, the way you have to hook it up, and this is good for any other Gemini enthusiasts who are watching this, the sump breather has to go to the top inlet, this one here, and the air filter has to be the lower one because it's gravity fed. So the highest point is the one that you want everything to flow from. Obviously you don't want anything flowing into your sump, so you hook that up to the top one. The fuel tank is always the one that's pointing out this way, and the lower one, which is, as I said, gravity fed, so it feeds down to the bottom and then it goes up. And because it's a valve, they can't go back the opposite way. They can't go up. So, yeah, that's the way I've hooked it up so far. I haven't actually got the sump and the air filter hoses hooked up yet, but that's how I'll be doing it. And I did it the opposite way, so I had the sump hooked up to the bottom one, because, obviously, the air filter's at the top, sump's at the bottom, so you hook it up that way because it makes sense. But as it turns out, that's not the way you do it. And luckily I caught it quickly with my TD and only had a little bit of petrol in the sump. But anyway, moving on from that. So I've got all the fuel lines hooked up, electrics, I've got the fan belt on, got the radiator in, just got to put some hose clamps on those radiator hoses. You won't be able to, actually, I'll get my little lead light so you can see. I've looped the actually, yes, that's right. I haven't got the strut bracing off yet. I got this section off here, this middle part. They're actually only tacked on, so once I cut through the to the shock tower, I just moved it back and forth and it just snapped off. You can see right there. That's where that tack weld is, where that hole was. So I got to do the same thing and cut them in half and then just move them back and forth, and eventually they'll snap off. But I actually can't put a heater box in this car, and I had forgotten this because I was so, I was rushing through everything. Because this is a TX, the very first Geminis, they have a different heater box set up with these little taps that come out to those two little grommeted holes in the firewall. And I only have two TX heater cores, both of them, one's for my coupe and one's for my white TX outside, and I need them both. And unfortunately they aren't very easy to find because of course they only come on one type of car. So I'm actually going to have to get this car on the road without a heater box. I could drill some holes for the water lines, but unfortunately the holes where they normally go, where the hoses normally go behind into the interior, they go right where this compliance plate is. So unfortunately I can't really do much about that. I could drill out the rivets and re-rivet the plate somewhere else, but I'm not a really big fan of doing that. So anyway, there's a whole lot of other stuffing around that I have to do with it anyway. So I figure, well, when I eventually find one, I'll let the buyer know, and he can come and get it. So yes, I looped the water hoses as a result of that. You can see there, so that way it's not losing coolant. So yes, anyway, I'll move on because I'm taking. Wait. This filming isn't exactly going very well now, is it? Anyway, yes, front end. I've got those TE headlights in, a TD grille, and the front bar has been bolted on. So yes, that's basically how it looks like. I did have that TX grille on there last time, but I decided to change to a TD grille because they suited these headlights a bit better. I just had to drill some new holes to mount them. Very, very simple. So yes, that's pretty much how it's all going. I mean, that probably doesn't seem like very much, but yeah, it actually has been quite a lot of work. So from here, really, all I need to do is just get the little spade terminal for the solenoid on the starter motor. It's the wrong type. I don't know. Maybe that's why it wasn't starting, because it's got the wrong connector for the terminal. Once I've swapped that over, I can get that done. Hopefully get it started and see how it runs. I also have to get the clutch cable in. I've got it in at the gearbox side. I've still got to do the pedal side, which is a real bastard. It's a pain in the ass job to do. I also had to change the throttle cable, the accelerator cable, because the one that was in this car originally was jammed. So I took the one out of the TE. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to fix the one that I took out, because I prefer those. They've got metal adjusting nuts, and these ones have got plastic ones. They're stupid. So hopefully from now until the end, the deadline, which is now on the 18th, I think, I'll be able to get. I'm not sure if I'll get it all done, to be honest. I don't know if I'll get the whole car done in 2 weeks, but it's a deadline I set for myself as a bit of fun. If I don't do it, well, it will stay here for a few days longer. I am not letting this car leave while it's got a welded diff in it, because I don't want the owner to kill himself in it. Because no matter what people say, welded diffs in street cars are a very dangerous thing. You can probably comment and say, oh, that's not true, but, that's what I think. So anyway, once that's done, that should be a majority of the work that has to be completed on this car, and then it can finally piss off so I can build my supercharged engine. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Hopefully I'll update again when this engine's firing, and then again when it's driving. Anyway, see you guys.